Good morning.
Good morning.
The time is now 10 o'clock. I'd like to call our board meeting for the Department of Community Supervision to order. At this time, I would ask that we stand for the invocation from General Counsel James Knox. And remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your service, God. We thank you for this board and for this agency. We ask now, God, that you bless this meeting. Bless all we do, all we say. Most of all, you be glorified. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to welcome everybody to our meeting. This is my first meeting chairing the board, so I'm excited to be here. I want to thank you for your support. I definitely would like to thank staff for preparing us for this meeting. You guys make it so easy for us, but we know that there's a lot of work involved in preparing for our meetings. And to our guests, we say thank you for coming. We hope that you'll find our meeting this morning productive and that you will learn even more about the good work that's being done by DCS. At this time, I would like our members at the table to introduce themselves, and then we'll follow that with an introduction for those who may be joining us via conference call.
Timothy Ward, Commissioner, Georgia Department of Corrections.
Tom Rollins, Director of Defects.
Michael Terrell, Coweta County.
Kim Daniel from the Attorney General's Office.
Steve Queen with CSRA Probation Services.
Tyrone Oliver, Juvenile Justice.
Okay, and is anyone joining us via conference call? Please announce yourselves.
Gary Barnard, Parole Board.
Thank you for joining us, Member Barnard. We appreciate your time this morning. That being said, we do not have a quorum this morning. We do know how schedules can be during the month of December. Oh, we do? Okay, we do have a quorum. So that's good. Thank you very much. So our first item of business is the approval of the December 19th agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Moved and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Our second item of business is the review and approval of the September 19th, 2019 meeting minutes. The minutes were advanced to us. They're also in our packets. If everybody has had an opportunity to review the minutes, I'll ask if there are any corrections or amendments to the minutes. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Moved and properly second. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Hearing none, the motion carries. At this time, we would like to transition to our commissioner's report. Commissioner Neal, we'll transition over to you, sir.
I will. Thank you, Madam Chair. And it does not seem like your first meeting already. Moving on right there. So let me thank also the members of the board. I know you've got important roles and responsibilities, but I appreciate you taking the time to be here, whether it's in person or calling in. So thank you for your continued support of DCS. And let me begin by saying happy holidays to each and every one of you and to your family. It's a blessed time of year, and I wish you the best over the holidays. At this time, before I begin my remarks, I'm going to have Sandra Thomas come and present a video and a few remarks.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy holidays to everyone. I just want to start off with, we kicked off our state charitable contribution program this quarter, and I'm happy to say that we certainly made a difference this year in someone's life. So we were able to collect a little over $9,000, and we're still not done. So we still have a couple of more things to collect, and that'll give us a total. But we're just so super proud of the agency. And also, in celebration of the holidays, central office and the entire DCS family across the offices across Georgia participated in the 2019 DCS Holiday Service Project, and that was the DFACS Secret Santa program that was provided. Christmas gifts were given to Georgia's foster children, and we are so happy that that we were able to be a part of that. So every single office in the agency and every single division participated in this program, and we are super, super proud of that. We raised over $5,000 in donations and gifts. We provided Christmas gifts for 34 Georgia foster children throughout the state. So I would like to show a quick video, a quick presentation of the Holiday Service Day. But before I do, I would like to recognize Sherry Chambers. Sherry is not here. She's on sick leave, and but we could not have done this without Sherry. Sherry is a pit bull. She gets on us, and you know, if you don't have that I dotted and that T cross, she's gonna get it. So we are super, super proud to have Sherry on our team, and I would like to just recognize her for the great work she's done. So let's take a quick minute and look at this video before I turn it back over to the commissioner.
On behalf of DFACS, I really want to thank you for y'all's involvement with us. We think we're going to probably serve about 11,000 children this year with gifts, and this is probably certainly the best year ever. I really appreciate y'all's involvement.
Absolutely, and Tom, we appreciate the opportunity. Sometimes you want to know where you can help, and sometimes just being asked.
Exactly.
So we appreciate that. We appreciate what you do and your leadership at DFACS. Absolutely. So, and I think that's a testament to the individuals we have when you talk about selfless service and being part of the community and part of the communities we serve. And I just couldn't be more proud of the members on Team DCS.
And I want to concur with that. It's an honor to serve. It really is. And when you go beyond your day-to-day to really truly make a difference. We're doing something similar in my city right now, and I tell you, it's an honor to serve.
Yep.
So I'm proud to work with teams that believe in that. And please, I know Ms. Chambers is not here, extend the board's thanks to her for her service and to everybody that was involved.
Absolutely. Now, I will say, Sandra referenced her as a pit bull. Now, Miss Ross, we don't want any offense to Hershey, all right? Because you have brought Hershey, and you're going to have a chance to meet Hershey, and we're glad to have Hershey here. And we have permission to give Hershey a DCS badge to wear, so we'll be taking care of that, and think we may have a new mascot. So, anyway, and again, before I move into my formal remarks, we have somebody that is retiring with over 31 years of service. He's no stranger to you all. He's no stranger to anyone in the room, but Michael Kraft will be retiring, and we had a great retirement celebration for him. And when you saw the turnout amongst various agencies, I think that speaks directly to Mike and the impact that he has had, whether it was on the Commission on Family Violence or whether it was president of the Georgia Probation Association. He has really had a huge influence. But just at the retirement celebration I shared is with Mike, what is most impressive is he never forgot why he got into this business to start with. And he carries that with him. So Mike, I didn't know if you wanted to have a few words or not. I'll welcome you to do so.
It's been an honor to work with DCS since its inception, and I've had a great career, but I've worked with some very great people and a lot of unsung heroes out there with this agency that are getting the job done. So it's been an honor to serve, but I leave you in good hands because everybody that you have here is still doing a great job.
Thank you, Mike. We're proud of you. 2019 was a great year. Looking forward to 2020 being an even better year. You have a hard copy of the annual report. We will also be distributing that electronically for the board members that are not in attendance, as well as I know Chairman Barnard is on the phone, so we will be sending those out electronically. But that's just a snapshot. I don't know about you, but I don't wake up in the morning going, man, I look forward to reading the annual report today. So we try to keep it brief, we try to keep it light, but a lot of hard work went into that. Kudos to External Affairs and everyone that contributed to it. Recently, we had 4 officers that were recognized at the Governor's Public Safety Awards. I want to bring attention to Nick Perry, Telly Hartman, Justin Ussery, and Brandon Long for the work that I don't think any of them are here, but I wanted to share with the board that they were recognized for acts of heroism, and we're just proud of them. As you know, the legislative session is about to be upon us. We do not have any agency legislation, and at this time I'm not aware of any legislation that would directly impact us. We will certainly keep you updated. Brian Toops with External Affairs will continue to be our point on legislative matters, but so far we're not expecting anything, with the exception of the budget. I think we've all been 2 caseloads out in the field because, as you know, we had to stop for hiring process for a short time so we could get the money, if you will, for the budget, to meet the budget. The other thing is, last year we asked to expand our prison reentry initiative to 10 sites. We were funded for 5. What we have done is backed away from those 5 sites, and we will not be expanding. We really made a plan, even though funded for 5, to try to expand to the 10, and I'm not so sure we would have been really successful in doing that. So these individuals will have an opportunity to come back in another role with DCS, again, looking to reduce those caseload sizes. The biggest thing that you will probably hear about is we will be closing for this fiscal year, next fiscal year, 21 offices. That's been done before. And I know Chairman Barnard is on the phone when I was at parole, we had to find $1.3 million, and of the same thing, we look to leverage technology and close our offices. There are 21 offices. These offices were selected because either they were tenant at will or their lease would be coming to expire. There are many offices that we still will be closing and want to close. It's just right now it would not be fiscally possible because we would end up paying more to close it because of where we are in the lease. We have a track record. In fact, when DCS was created, we have already closed some offices. We have technology that can do the job. One thing we learned early on is we've got to empower the chiefs to make it work in their circuit. And they will do that. They can do that. And in fact, we have 4 that are already ready to be shuttered. And the chiefs have done a wonderful job with that. Things like drug testing, we're moving to a different drug testing method because that was one of the challenges that we had with it. But the fact of the matter is, community supervision is done in the community. It's not done where you sit behind a desk and have folks coming to you. Back in the mid-90s, the profession was referred to as fortress probation and fortress parole. We know one officer, one family, one community. That doesn't happen unless we're out there where the offenders are and operating in the community they are. It's going to be a change. There's some folks that have not gone through this. There's some folks that don't like it. There's some folks that just don't like change, period. And when you start having the talk of, okay, if we've got a $40,000 lease on this office and you don't want to close it, which one of you want to go home? Then it gets real. It gets real quick. Or how about if we take that $40,000, we divide it up amongst all the staff, and that's less your paycheck? Then it gets real. Okay? And that's the point we're at. 86% of our staff our budget is personal services. We don't have a lot of assets. We can't talk about vehicles. That's what we utilize to get our job done. So it is going to be challenging. It is going to be difficult. We recognize that. We have encouraged all those impacted officers to talk to the stakeholders, to include the legislators. There was once a time, we've all probably worked for agencies where it was a no-no to talk to the legislators. That's not our way of doing business. We think that legislators ought to know what we do on a day in and day out basis. They ought to know what our role is, how we go about doing it. And I think that invitation is why you see so many legislators that are going on ride-alongs with their officers to have a better understanding. And I think that helps the system as a whole. David Morrison will be coming and talking to you about our partnership with the GBI, with the gang task force. We are also assisting at the governor's direction with setting up the gang database. First one in the state under the governor's direction and leadership. It is not our database. We're actually providing service to the GBI in establishing that database. I know Department of Corrections is also heavily involved in that, but I want to commend all of our IT staff for working diligently to make that happen. Finally, we have a research partnership with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council and Georgia State University, looking at accountability courts and revocations and utilizing accountability courts for that process. And there will be more to come, but I think we continue to look for best practices as well as next practices. So very, very pleased with our endeavors in that area. So that will conclude my remarks unless there are any questions or issues, concerns from the board.
Any questions?
I just want to make one remark if I might.
Yes, sir.
This is Terry Michael. I want to just say thank you again for keeping those caseloads as low as possible. We at Parole understand how critical that is for the supervision component of parole. And obviously, we've already gone through the office closure back when you managed parole, and obviously you'll get there as well. Kudos for your vision.
Well, thank you, sir, and we certainly appreciate it. We understand our role and responsibility in serving the board as well as the courts, and that's the last thing we're going to do is compromise our service delivery. So thank you, Terry. I appreciate that.
And I'll say that too. Thank you. I know it's tough when you have to make those decisions sometimes. You have to lead through it, and it's difficult, and it's not necessarily, fun, but you have to think about services and you have to think about staffing, and I appreciate you leading through it to make the best decisions that we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll ask Mr. Morrison now to provide us with his report.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Merry Christmas. It's been a very busy quarter. I'm pleased to announce one.
Go ahead, David.
Okay.
Can we, Paul? I messed up. What?
I know. Up here?
Yeah, I messed up by introducing David to you. No, my bad. And thank you, Sandra. That's one good thing. I got a good team, but they will not hesitate to let you know you've messed up. So one thing, we saw a review in a presentation earlier this month by our training section, and quite candidly, I was blown away when you look at the phenomenal job they do. And in budget cuts, a lot of folks want to cut training. In my humble opinion, that is the last thing you want to cut in these tight times. That's when you need training the most. And I was so impressed with Shantae Porter and what her team is doing and continues to do. And I've asked her to provide a presentation to the board regarding training. And Shantae, I greatly apologize for overlooking you. I know I will pay a significant price for that. Okay, all right, we'll keep it that way then. And thank you, Sandra, for bringing it to my attention.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's going to be a brief presentation. This is the presentation that I presented to Michael, Scott, and Sandra in regards to what we're doing in the training unit. So I first like to start with our new org chart. And before I go over this, I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge my amazing staff, who is right over here. Everybody say hello. Say good morning. This is just a few of our staff. December is our month to get our training done. So all of my field trainers and my trainers from the academy, they're in training themselves. They're either out still doing pre-basics to make sure we have enough people that's ready to go to basic in January. So this is our staff for the training unit. We're a small bunch, but we pack a mighty punch. We get a lot of work done in a short amount of time with little people, and I am so privileged to work with such a great group of people who work hard every day and do not complain about the amount of work that is given to them and the ideas that we come up with to continue to make our unit one of the best in the state. So this is our stats up to date for quarter 2. We've had 2 basics. We've produced 65 in-service classes, 15 advanced classes. Our online unit continues to push out new initiatives, and we've done 48 online classes. And we've done 3 professional development classes. As you can see, the number of training hours that were created from all of those courses. Here's a total of all of the training hours that we've done since July until November. We've completed over 20,000 hours of training courses for the department. This is our calendar year stats. For the year of 2019, the training unit of such a small staff did 444 courses. We completed over 66,000 hours of training hours for the employees of the Department of Correction. For the Department of Community Supervision.
Before reaching in faith.
Tim was looking at me. Those 13,000 students were enrolled. That's each class, how many people we had enrolled in each course.
A lot.
Thank you. So as we prepare for 2020, we looked at some things that we can enhance, and some of the things that we're going to enhance with our basic. We have got with our health and wellness coordinator, Reggie, who is going to start reaching out to students before they ever get to basic, to prepare them for what basic looks like, to make sure they know about being hydrated, to know how they should exercise and be prepared for what they're getting into. But we've also reintroduced PT into our basic courses. The week that our students are on campus, we're going to do some type of physical fitness with them on a daily basis, which means that we're going to improve our fitness before we go into defensive tactics. We want to cut down on the number of medicals, and we want to cut down on people being sore and not shaved. And anything we can do to prepare them for DT, that's what we're going to do. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to introduce firearms requalification before they leave basic. Right now, there's a course that you shoot to qualify to become an officer, which is different from what you shoot every year after that to maintain your certification. So we want to make sure that our students are prepared the following year for what firearms looks like for them. Our district training performance, our improvements for that is that we're going to provide a firearms enhancement training course for all of our remedial shooters prior to requalification. This year we had a few people who did not maintain their qualification, so we're going to do our part to ensure that anything we can do to train them before they ever go out to do their first attempt, that they're more secure in going out and they're more confident before they ever go out to shoot their first attempt. We hope this cuts down on the number of attempts that we have to do this year, but also it enhances our officers and they're more safe in the field because they're secure in their skills. We're going to change the sequence of firearms qualification. We're going to go from this year we did first, second, third, fourth, fifth attempt. So next year we'll do first, second, third, fourth, fifth. And we changed this in order for people to have more than one attempt at their last attempt. We found that more people felt stressed when they knew that this is my last time. So anything we can do to relieve that stress off of our employees, that's what we're looking to do. And we're going to do more advanced level trainings in the field. We're going to give people an opportunity to train where they are with the staff that they work with every day. Instead of coming down to Gypsy, we're going to set up courses where you can work right along the people that you work with every day. This is an overall stat of what we did for the field. We qualified over 1,300 people with a 99.3 success rate. So next year, our advanced training unit, we split up training. We're going to push some things to the field, and we're going to leave some things at Gypsy. We hope that this cuts down on travel, but more than that, we hope that it increases our number of enrollees in our courses because people don't have to come to Gypsy. They can go home every day after they get finished with training. So these are the things that we want to push out in the field. And Jimmy Sykes, who is our academy director, and Lori Massingale, who is our professional development manager, who manages our advanced unit, we're prepared to start these classes January 1. So, and the one thing that we are most proud of is our professional development courses. We've created we've created a curriculum for what professional development looks like. This year we only had MET. Lori has been promoted to our professional development manager, and she has come up with 4 additional classes that we'll now put into our professional development courses. We're going to create a soft skills course, and we're going to introduce these to employees who are prepared to go into management. We want to make sure before you get a management role that you know what you're getting into. We want to make sure you have those soft skills. We want to make sure you know about effective communication and how to become a manager. Right now, we currently have MET, and we're going to put an MET booster online where you can go back. If you forgot a skill, you can go back and you can get a quick catch-up. We're going to create advanced management, and that's going to be for our chief level and those who are in positions equivalent to that. We sometimes get to a level of management and we don't have anything for them to go to for professional development, and we don't want to forget that group of people because they're important. They're the face in the field of what management looks like for DCS, and we want to make sure that we continue to pour into them so they can enhance their skills as well. And
to have the time to supervise cases face-to-face that are under active supervision. The goal ultimately is 13,000. All 13,000 admin cases be placed on that contact status, if you will. If you hear the word virtual circuit, I know that's a little confusing with the virtual office, virtual circuit. We're changing the name on that so we can avoid all the confusion. So that's a significant time saver for our certified staff supervising cases. Another thing I'm excited about, we recently deployed in October the personalized emergency transmitter for officer safety. For years and years, we threw good money after bad trying to keep up with local authorities with radios. And what we found was, as soon as we would buy something, the locals could afford to buy 7 new radios. We couldn't afford to buy 15,000 or 1,500 new radios. And it just wasn't economically savvy. So Commissioner Nell tasked us with going out to see what else is out there as opposed to radios. And we found a device that's connected to the officer's vest. And if that device is pressed, it will notify up to 5 supervisors or in that chain of command that an officer, where they're at geographically, also that officer is in trouble, and the officers per policy, or the supervisor per policy, immediately contact 911 to get help en route. So that's a significant improvement and a long time coming. We're still working on a contact credit formula. We're looking at time drains within the officer's day. What's taking them away from supervising cases, and really, seeing somebody is not a meaningful interaction. Actually spending good quality time with them is what is effective. So we're looking at ways to reduce those time drains to give us more time to spend with them. We also deployed in October a language line interpretation app to help with our hearing impaired offenders. That's pretty significant. Also, just an update on the video interactions that we deployed in August. We're getting tremendous feedback from the staff in the field. It's a huge time drain saver, but also just know that doesn't take away the requirement for the officers to go out and see those offenders. It's just leveraging technology to be more efficient and effective. Not finally, but there's a APPA conference in New Orleans on January 6th. We have 2 presentations. Bert Llewellyn, my boss, will be presenting on workload time management, sort of like the caseload credit just mentioned. And then Nick Powell, our research guy, Dr. Powell, will be presenting on leveraging technology. And finally, we have assigned an individual to the Governor's Game Task Force and already bearing fruit. So good news on that front. Without any questions, that is my presentation.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Next, we have Ms. Stanley providing a report on reentry services.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy holidays to each of you. Just a few highlights from reentry services. One of the recommendations that came as a result of the Criminal Justice Reform Council was for us to evaluate our day reporting centers. But we partnered with UGA School of Social Work to do that this year. And they looked at all of our full day reporting centers as well as our grant-funded day reporting centers. And they also developed an assessment tool for us. They looked at 13 areas of program assessments. They evaluated that through 35 sites across the state. And what it showed was the DRCs that had higher scores were for participants that were there. They had fewer probation violations, they had fewer new felony charges, and they had fewer positive drug testing. Some of the strengths that came from that assessment that was done included leadership, staff characteristics, program resources, program support, substance use programming, cognitive behavior programming, mental health services, workforce services, and aftercare services. So we're looking forward to continue to assess the work that they started for us each year, and we'll continue to improve on any programming we can at a day reporting center. Currently, to date, we have about 1,900 enrolled across the state. As it relates to our RPH for housing, we just closed our application cycle, and we received 32 new applications, and we're excited to be able to expand our current 44 RPH sites to hopefully those additional 32 once the process is complete. This last quarter, we brought on 2 providers, one in Twin Cedars, it was the CAT property, and then another in Columbus that's able to accept sex offenders. I'm always excited each time we're able to bring on a provider that can accept sex offenders because we know that's the toughest population to place. Just a few highlights from our community coordination. In Doherty County, they started a community impact center, a one-stop shop. And during that time, individuals were able to report on Mondays for a period of time, and we have a number of providers there. We partner with Goodwill, with the Technical College, with the Housing Authority, with a food pantry, with both rehab, work source, and they're able to come and work with those individuals while they're there. So there's no reason for them to leave and have to go and make appointments at each one of those individuals. We're able to meet them while they're there. So that has already been paying out great dividends. It just started last month, but each Monday it has been overflowed with individuals coming in since the grand opening. In Clayton County, we had our first healthcare fair that we partnered with the Board of Health as well as Change and Phase Treatment Center and the Affordable Health Care Act enrollment team. And our goal was to connect those we serve and their families with wraparound healthcare resources, as well as to provide interactive HIV, STD, and HIV screenings. So we was able to do that at our office. We had about 89 there in attendance and 45 registered to have free healthcare assistance, and 35 participated in having screenings done. In Floyd County, we partnered with the Department of Labor and Goodwill, and we hosted a resource fair and a job fair. We had over 120 to attend. This went so well with the number of providers that came out and the number of participants that was there that this will be an ongoing quarterly resource fair that we would do on a monthly basis. Lastly, in Augusta, we had our first pre-release symposium where we had a resource fair inside the prison. So we did this one at the Augusta State Medical Prison, and it was a partnership with GDC and DVHDD. And our focus was targeting that population with mental health level 3 and 4 individuals. We wanted to make sure as they're released, they know how to navigate those services once they're back in their communities. So we invited those partners to come in. So we had 10 partners there, and we did it somewhat like a simulation so that they was able to go in, speak with everybody, and know exactly what they could take away from that. So we had 60 individuals that came through that process that would be released in 180 days, and we plan to try and follow up with them afterwards to make sure they had successful transitional services. Lastly, I want to highlight a community coordinator that's here with us today, Sharon Ahman from DeKalb County. Sharon continues to set the example, and she always knocks it out of the park with anything that she does. But most recently, she hosted a family night at the office, and she had over 220 individuals in attendance. We were able to give away 10,000 pounds of food to those that we serve, as well as individuals in the community. We didn't just stop with who we serve. We had a number of participants there that was able to provide healthcare screenings. They helped them enroll in SNAP, as well as provided job training, because we had the career mobile bus on site from WorkSource, as well as we had employers there with employment leads. Sharon is the prime example of what we're looking for community coordination, and I told her if I could coin her and clone her and put her throughout the state, I know that we could really be changing lives of all those that we're supervising. But I wanted to bring her today so that she could be recognized, and I'm going to allow Commissioner Nail to come up and present her with a token and just say thank you, thank you, thank you for all you continue to do and the example you continue to share.
The word coin. I wanted to thank you. I think I was looking at Twitter when I saw the feed about the work that you had done, and I think what it really speaks to is that the individuals under our supervision, they're also in our community, and they need help, and you created an environment for them to come to receive help. You rallied the troops around them, and when we talk about selfless service, that is truly, truly a shining example of it. So I wanted to give you a leadership point and thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you, Ms. Sharon. Sounds like you've been very deserving.
Thank you
so congratulations on your recognition. And to Ms. Stanley, thank you. It's very inspiring to hear how we're growing in terms of resources. We know how pivotal that is for DCS. So thank you for your mighty work that you're doing in that area as well. At this time, were there questions for Ms. Stanley? Let me ask the board members. Okay. At this time, we'll ask Ms. Neville to provide us with a report on misdemeanor probation oversight.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy holidays and Happy New Year. As I spoke at the last board meeting, we were compiling the results for the annual misdemeanor audit or survey that I put out to the providers, and I just wanted to share some of that feedback with you guys today. So we always ask, overall, how satisfied were you with your 2018, 2019 compliance reviews? And as you can see, we only got one very unhappy, but when I contacted that provider, she had accidentally, throughout the entire survey, used 1 instead of 5.
So you say.
I have that in writing. So as you can see, nobody responded as unhappy or not unhappy, but everybody was very, very overwhelmingly satisfied with their overall compliance reviews, which is a huge deal, seeing how we're going in there and we're pretty much pointing out what is wrong. And then we always ask, how relevant and helpful do you think the feedback was for positive future outcomes? And again, as you can see, it's pretty much the same response throughout that. We asked, how satisfied were you with the customer service provided, because that is important to us. And again, we got mostly 5s, and only that 1 that should technically be a 5. I highlighted some additional comments. We do leave open comments, and again, this is I contacted the provider. It is an anonymous survey, but you have the option to provide your name. So luckily that person did provide their name so that I didn't think this whole time that somebody was tremendously unhappy. But we do also allow for additional comments, and just some of the positive ones was nothing but good things to say. Efficient, welcoming. Our employees were named personally as far as the compliance monitors that are going out on site. Grateful for the leadership, hard work. Communication is great. And then we also leave a suggestions part. So we also not only want to hear the good stuff, but we want to hear, is there something that we can do to benefit or help in the future? And some of the feedback that we got was that we would like to do a little bit more via the internet, so utilizing technology. And thankfully, due to the budget restraints, we're going to be happily doing that next year for the providers that have the capabilities of doing that. And then we also saw some suggestions for more training online, and we're looking into trying to build some of that. We do have our website, we do have our catalog of training that we're doing, and we're trying to look and see if we can get some of that available to the providers to just complete online with a verification process. So as you can see, that's very good feedback once again from the providers, and we appreciate all the providers that did respond. There's a couple of them that don't ever respond to the surveys, so we're just going to assume that they have nothing but good things to say. So some 2019 training stats. We had 513 attendees that have attended the MPOU training this year. We had a total of 37 days of training. 430 attendees in 2018 and 31 days of training. We've completed 100% in 2019 for our audits. We have 75 providers and 791 service agreements. And I say all that because I want to highlight the training and how important it truly is and the impact that it has done. Because as you can see in trends, and we're talking liability findings, so things that are going to end up in the news, cause lawsuits, etc. We try to concentrate on those. Not that we don't concentrate on everything, but those are the big areas that we really like to focus on. In 2016, when we went 24.
That's correct.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
And that goes to the providers and their responsiveness and their cooperation and allowing us to come in and be positive about the feedback and taking that feedback and then making that correction. And then, of course, our statewide training, the compliance monitors that are overly communicating. We're not just saying this is wrong, we're saying this is wrong and this is how you fix it. And so great job by all of the MPO team and of course the training. So, and other than that, if you don't have any questions, that is my presentation.
Members, any questions?
I don't have a question. I'll just make one comment about Barbara's efforts with her unit. They've done a phenomenal job. And thank you for doing that survey, because before that survey, they all came to me. They would call me. And I'll echo that the comments I heard were in line, Michael, with the responses there. Mostly all positive, occasionally a question, usually about a misunderstanding, which was always easily to work out. I point to two factors. Having been in this since day one, over the last several years since 2015 when the department was created and the unit was created, the training, that's really where the biggest difference is made. If we know what to do and how to do it, then we'll do it. Always have. And then the response from the unit as well as the auditors coming out, not a gotcha situation. Gotcha comes later when you've done it 2 or 3 times the same way when you haven't corrected it. But initially it is, here's an issue, let's work collaboratively to show you how to fix it, and let's go on. And that's made the biggest difference. Those are great numbers to see. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Thank you, Member Queen, for the feedback. Next, we'll have Ms. April Ross providing a report from the Georgia Commission on Family Violence. Ms. Ross.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
This is my first Commission Board meeting with DCS, so I'm excited to be here. I took over leadership of the Commission in October, and since then have had an excellent time getting adjusted. So to start, we have our family violence intervention programs. We have currently about 110 certified programs, around 200 facilitators, and around 186 sites. We're looking to increase opportunities to create more programs and certify more facilitators so that we're able to reach more areas throughout the state, particularly in rural Georgia. We have a lot of programs that are concentrated in metro Atlanta. We also have implemented family violence intervention trainings this year because we created new rules that went into effect at the beginning of 2019. So the first thing we did was started a family violence intervention program rules training, which has gone on very well. Not only did it teach them about the new rules and the certification requirements now, it also reemphasized some of the old rules that had kind of been overlooked or not really effectively being implemented. So that's been great. We're going to continue that. We also have our FFIT Basics, which is for people who are looking to become certified. One of the biggest requirements for that is a 3-day training that they have to complete before they can start going to the other requirements. And we've had a lot of wait lists around that. So we've only offered it 4 times this year. So we're looking for ways to use technology and find ways to create more training opportunities so we can reduce those wait lists, get more people certified, and get more people into the programs. So we have more access throughout the state. So this year, 175 facilitators completed the training. So that was great. And we're going to continue to offer it next year, but looking for more ways to do it easier. Other FFIP trainings that we offer for CEs, we have partnered with organizations like Men Stopping Violence, the Duluth model, just ways to get our facilitators more in line with why we do it, why the work is important. This increases victim safety, increases offender accountability, and hopefully reverses the numbers we're starting to see in Georgia with domestic violence. Around compliance, we had our compliance coordinator completed about 15 site visits to 13 sites, because sometimes you have to revisit when there's a major issue. But we're looking for ways to increase our opportunities to get to more sites throughout the year, because obviously the more you keep your eyes on folks, the more you know they're in line with what you want them to do. So we're finding creative ways to make that happen so that we can get more site visits done throughout the year. We just had our compliance coordinator just left, so we're looking for filling that position, and we believe we've got some good folks in line. We had our conference this year in Athens. It's an annual conference. This was year 25. It's grown. We actually reached 650 attendees this year, so we've actually outgrown the Athens facility. So we're looking to go even further. This year, 2020, is going to be in Jekyll Island, which nobody wants us to move from there, so we're not going to bother doing that. A little piece of heaven in Georgia. Can't change that. But next year in 2021, we're going to look to other places that can fit the size. We're also looking to make it more of a national conference. We've heard time and time again that our conference, compared to other DV conferences throughout the nation, is phenomenal in terms of content. So we're expanding our workshops. We're doing a request for proposal process this year to get more national presenters coming into our workshops and our keynotes. We're also going to advertise it to our border states and try to get expansion slowly to get more participants coming from outside of our borders. And I think that's a good way for us to collaborate and learn about more innovations around what other folks are doing to improve their DV stats in their states. So I'm really excited about the growth potential of our conference. Let's see. Our task forces. We have community task forces throughout the state. I think we had this year about 11 circuits that did not have task forces, but we have 3 of them have just recently started. So we're really making efforts to make contacts in those communities that don't have them, to get them on board, get someone to take leadership and get one started. And we're making good progress there. Those task forces are critical. In fact, in Chatham County, the task force there partnered with the local DA's office and some other folks. They just opened a family justice center we're really excited about to give the community quick access to TPO processes, domestic relations issues around like divorces or separations, and just quick access to someone in the community that can help them out of various situations and do it in a safe and effective way. So they just had their grand opening, and we're really excited to hear about that model and hopefully spread it throughout the states. We also have just filled a position for our support for survivors of murder-suicide grant. This is really important. We're actually one of the only states that has this model, and we're really excited about this protocol to provide resources to people who are left behind, because when there's a murder-suicide, you don't get into the criminal system, so you don't get the resources that come with being connected to a victim advocate. And you're kind of left behind, and I'll just say on a personal note, that's my story. So it's really a near and dear project for me to see that people get those resources when they're not going through the normal process. Law enforcement trainings have been successful. We have a grant for that. We've done 12 this year, and it seems to be a very successful interaction with our law enforcement, and we're really excited to continue that. We also have a data enhancement project in our fatality review, which is really critical, so we know what our trends are in Georgia and whether or not we're really making impact and where we need to focus. Other than that, we're working with misdemeanor probation, helping to do trainings on DV to the probation officers there. That's been very successful. We continued that this year. I think this year was year 3. We're going to continue that partnership into 2020, and we look forward to giving them relevant DV topics. Outside of that, please let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, that concludes my report.
Members, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Voss. We want to welcome you. This is your first meeting. I think your first meeting with the board. We're excited to have you at the helm and excited about your leadership. I do want to say that I was at a CJCC meeting recently, and I just heard terrific comments about the conference. Several people were talking about it. So congratulations to the commission for holding that. I can definitely see regional, if not national, implications, especially when you're going to 650 attendees just here in the state. I'm excited about the possibilities on that. So congratulations on your role. We look forward to working and partnering with you.
Thank you.
Okay. At this time on our agenda, our next item of business is old business. Do we have any old business? Okay. Hearing none, we do have new business. We have a resolution for DCS Board Secretary Michael Terrell, and I'm going to ask Commissioner Neal, I believe, to speak on the resolution. Yes.
And we thought it'd be very fitting, being that Michael represents, of course, the community probation, that Barbara join us and actually share the resolution. Michael, if you don't mind coming up, please, sir. And he's leaving for a good reason. Michael, I didn't know if you wanted to mention it or not. Most people know, but...
Yeah, I'm staying with Coweta County, but I've been asked to lead the 911 and EMA response for our county. So I'm just moving up within the county. So it's a good opportunity for me, and I'm very excited about the new challenges. So.
I'm proud of you, Michael. We really appreciate your service.
Thank you. Well, it is my pleasure to present you with the resolution. You will be missed, and I appreciate your professionalism and your support always for Misdemeanor. So, whereas founded on the tenets of public safety and progress, the Georgia Department of Community Supervision commenced operations on July 1st, 2015 through the passage of House Bill 310, and the oversight of Georgia's misdemeanor probation providers was transferred to the department. Whereas due to his notable professional accomplishments, Michael Terrell was appointed by Governor Nathan Deal to serve on the Board of Community Supervision as the governmental probation provider representative. Michael leveraged his role to build lasting partnerships that will positively impact communities for years to come. Whereas Michael Terrell's insightful, thoughtful, and careful contribution to the Board of Community Supervision provided DCS with a steady presence that will help reform and improve the oversight of Georgia's misdemeanor probation system. Whereas Michael Terrell is a lifelong public servant whose deep passion for Georgia has led him to serve a prestigious leadership post throughout the state. Despite his many commitments, Michael prioritizes family, cultivates lasting friendships, and is a highly esteemed citizen in his local community. Therefore, be it now hereby resolved, the undersigned members of the Board of Community Supervision desire to commend the distinguished contribution of Michael Terrell for his outstanding service to the Georgia Department of Community Supervision and the employees thereof. Today, so I could read that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. At this time, I would like to ask the board, I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution as presented by Ms. Neville. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Congratulations. We appreciate your time and service to this board, Mr. Terrell, and wish you well in your new role. Next, we have a property resolution. I understand that General Counsel James Knox will be presenting to the board on that particular item.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There's a piece of property that is now in the hands of the Department of Public Safety. It's located in Territory County. It's post 16. It's at 351 8th Street. That property, they are going to vacate that property in 2020. And so they have elected through resolution to transfer that property to the Department of Community Supervision. And this resolution is for us to receive that property. It empowers the commissioners to do what is necessary to receive it, the conveyance from the Department of Public Safety. Are there any questions about that particular property?
So McCray Helena?
I'm sorry?
Which county?
It is in Telfair County.
McCray Helena or?
It is in Helena.
Helena.
Any questions for General Counsel's Knox? I believe this does require,
Yes, it does.
it's a voted item. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion has been moved, it's been seconded, properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. And there is an item on the agenda for the election of DCS Board Secretary. Given that we have this new transition, I'm going to ask if it's the pleasure of the board that we table that until our next meeting time. Is that
Madam
okay?
Chair. Yeah, if I may, and I apologize, I didn't include that in my remarks. We have 3 open seats on the board. The governor's office is aware of those, have been notified. In fact, I had to tell Brian too, hold off. I don't want you bugging them too much. Or that we will follow up again to ensure that those can move along as quickly as the governor's office sees fit.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Any other new business? Hearing none, that concludes our meeting. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion? Seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Carries. Thank you so much. I wish everybody a great holiday season, a Merry Christmas. Take time to enjoy your families. To our teams and our staff, thanks for your hard work. We look forward to a great 2020.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
Please, before you leave,